What is up, everybody? This is another episode of Behind the Badge, 1018 Behind the Badge live stream podcast show with my main man, John Stepp. And um we have some real stuff to talk about. And I'm just gonna let y'all know straight off the bat, like I was telling Jay off off camera, like I'm in a very, very foul mood. Um, so I'm going to be saying some things that honestly I don't even think really don't. I don't know what's going to come out, but I know it's going to be very abrasive. It's going to be in your face, and some people are going to like it, and some people are not. But just to let you know, like if you want to know why Blue sounds this way, it's because I'm just in a really, really foul mood, and I'll get into why that is. But thank everybody for tuning in. And what's up, Jay?
Man, doing the thing. Cinco de
What is
Mayo.
the thing?
Happy Cinco de
Oh
Mayo.
yeah, happy Cinco de Mayo! Shout out to all my Cinco de Mayo people who having fun throwing one back. Enjoy yourself. Be safe, but enjoy yourself. Um, Jay, let's get right into it, man. Locally, first of all, when me and Jay talk about a lot of issues, um, we talk we're talking locally, but a lot of the stuff we talk about is happening nationally as well. So you could put whatever we talk about towards a national stage. And locally and nationally, there's been a whole bunch of sentiment about um, training and police officers using their firearms, and there actually is a small groundswell locally as well, um, saying that officers do not need firearms, that they can settle things without the use of firearms. Now, before we get to the contradictory and weird fuckery of that whole thing, one of the persons that's championing something like that is a local politician by the name of Braxton Winston. He's a local council member here in Charlotte Mecklenburg County, and somewhere down the line he's went heel and he's decided that he's going to run with the whole anti-police campaign, which I don't have any issue with you if you're anti-police. And you know why I don't have an issue with that? Because in this great land, great country we call America, you can think what you want to think. You can say what you want to say. And you have that right to do that. And if you want to be anti police, but make some goddamn sense about it. And Mr. Braxton Winston, by the way, who I've have reached out to on Facebook Messenger to come on and explain his rhetoric and his thoughts and his opinions and his analysis, he has not yet responded. So I'm just going to say what I need to say. And if you want to respond later, that's fine. Anytime, anywhere, you know where to find me. But Mr. Braxton Winston, when asked about firearms in a Fox 46 article, he was asked whether or not he thinks police officers should carry weapons. He didn't answer yes or no. What he said was, so I think if you look right now, most of those potentially violent situations already right now resolve using interpersonal skills, as in talking and being present. Listen here. I want you to hear me good, Mr. Winston. You're not don't let the accent fool, don't let John's accent fool you. Don't let the way I look fool you. I'm very educated. I know how to play the game. I know words. I know how the media works. I know how politics work. You can dance around the issue all you want, but what you just said in that article is reckless and is borderline dangerous. You talk about that you want the community and police to come together, you're the same divisive reason why we're not going to come together. Because of stuff like that. What do you think is going to happen when a relative of yours, look, God forbid, or anybody's in a dangerous situation where a weapon or something is used against them? Don't you think it's past words at that point? And what you're doing right now is not only are you being divisive, but you're giving people who already didn't want to listen, who didn't care about what police were about, more reason not to do that. Right now, we're in a situation right now where you got people that are actually fighting police, shooting at police, doing everything to harm the police. And then when that action is met with the same amount of force or higher, that person that is either hurt, shot, killed, or whatever the case may be, they are now deities. Not daddies, deities. They are put on a higher pedestal than the 2 police deputies that were shot and killed this past week. So now, when my brothers and sisters in blue approach somebody, they already know I ain't got to listen to him. I ain't got to do anything with him because I already know no matter what I do, they're going to take my side. So you tell me, how is that going to help the community, Mr. Winston? Go ahead, Jay.
Man, you hit the nail on the head, brother. And what bothers me is it seems like we have people, in this case, elected official, who makes uneducated, to say the least. I'm not saying he's uneducated, but uneducated statements or opinions based on something they know zero about. And they do so based on, I think, of feelings more than they do facts. So a lot of people say, well, in the UK, they shot 4 people last year, right? And they most of the cops in UK, they don't carry firearms, right? Most of they have specialized units that's growing where they do, just because of the threats they're dealing with. But they don't have the violent offenders. How many guns does CMPD alone seize? I mean, how many would we see? Sometimes multiple guns from one felon or on a traffic stop. There's thousands and thousands of illegal guns in this county alone that are used in violent crime. What is our homicide rate? What was it last year? 124, and majority of those were firearms. So that's 124 people in this, incidents, not homicides. We had more homicides. They count, but a lot of people don't know, if we have 5 homicides in one incident, like we did in Beatty's Ford, they count that as one because it's one incident. So say we had, some of those were other issues, but say 110 of those were firearm related, 110 bodies in one county, right? So in UK, the county similar in size and demographics would have 3 of that, and then mostly it's via knife. So the guns are available to bad people. We deal with people every day that are armed illegally, not lawfully armed citizens, but felons, drug dealers, people that are willing to kill to stay away from prison. And you and I both, probably, if we roll up in some of the places that we rolled up without a firearm as a deterrent, somebody would have killed us. They're not going back to prison, right? So having that self-defense item on us keeps us from a lot of times having to use it. So people will think, well, hey, they have a gun, I have a gun. Hopefully we're better trained than they are and we might win. But sometimes, like the case with the 2 deputies, was it Watauga County near Boone, got ambushed and killed last week. And so but the problem is, it's reckless when a elected official makes statements, because a lot of people trust what they say, and when they make broad speculations of something they don't know nothing about, it detrimental to the community relations. So if he says that a lot of people want to jump on board and then look at the police department like, well, he's an elected official, he's a city council member, and he thinks so we should do it. And then it calls, instead of saying, hey, let's have a discussion. Someone explain to me what the needs for firearms are. How many times does us having a firearm de-escalate a violent encounter or violent attack on us or somebody else? So, but I'm right there with you. You hit it on the head, man. And it's propaganda, man. In my opinion, it's just more say what's popular. It doesn't make sense. People don't care. Let's go after the police.
And before everybody gets all in their fields and be like, "Blue, why you take it up?" Let me tell you something. If you just knew the behind the badge 1018, what we've been about, we've discussed and we've went over police with bad training, bad tactics, bad ethics, bad attitudes. We've done it all. So now when it's time for us to come back and to fight back and to stop this, whatever this is, political agenda that's going on with anti-police, we got some problems with that. Because you can't tell me that you honestly, in your heart of hearts, want a police officer to show up to your house where you're having a violent encounter, a violent situation, and he not be equipped. And you know what? I'm just going to paint it like this. You're in the house. An intruder is in the house with a gun. And your child is still in the house. You managed to get out, and for God knows what reason the child is still in the house. I pull up in a police car, and you say, "Hey, my kid's still in the house. Can you go get him?" Well, ma'am, I can't go in there and get him because I don't have a gun. What are you going to say to me? Are you going to say, "Well, can you talk him out of there"?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to say, Braxton?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. You're absolutely right. And then and he talked about how SWAT teams de-escalate by talking. I think but the thing is, we have somebody that's usually armed. For SWAT activation, they normally have to have somebody that's threatening to use a firearm, or we believe to be armed. So, and they're heavily armed. They come in with, what we call the Bearcat, that is like a APC, or something to keep the officer safe. Not a tank, not like Winston and some of these people call them, but we don't have tanks. They're not tanks.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Jay. Before you go any further, how do you know this stuff? How do you know what SWAT and stuff is supposed to have? Are you a police officer or something? Were you one?
Absolutely. For
Okay.
21.
I'm just making sure so people that just came in don't think, "Hey, this guy's he doesn't know what he's talking about." Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and not with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, but I was a SWAT entry team member for 2 years at another department. So, APCs, doesn't have any munition. There's no way to fire a projectile, explosive, or anything from these. They're just to protect. Most of the time, they're used for down officers, and they're used for, they have devices on them to make entry in certain spaces. But we do a lot of things. So basically what would happen is we would have a violent offender surrounded. We think he's in the room. We know he's in the room. So we call that a barricade, right? So treat it as a barricade. We got somebody in there unwilling to make contact or unwilling to come out. What we do is we call a SWAT sergeant on duty or SWAT officer. They kind of run up the chain of command and come decide if they're going to come out. They respond. They take over. They use their officers for the perimeter. And without going into their tactics, they take care of the scene. They have highly trained negotiators, and they de-escalate. They try, right, if allowed. But this person's contained by armed individuals. If he comes out shooting, which has happened, and our officers have been shot, that they have to take out the threat. So they're not unarmed officers, candy stripers that come up and walk up to the door, knock on the door to try to de-escalate them out. And in my opinion, if officers use that approach and unarmed, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be a lot more people tried, and a lot more dead cops, and a lot more dead individuals, because it's kind of the same scenarios. We used to chase bad guys at another agency I worked for. We had to have a tagline out, we'd chase them, right? And so many times they were like, "Oh, I thought you guys were Charlotte. If I knew you guys would chase me, I wouldn't have ran." That was so same scenario you apply to this. Well, if you didn't have a gun, I would have tried you, but since you had so it's beyond belief, man. And that's just one more thing that is a kick in the balls to the morale of the department when you have elected officials who you think would be open-minded or at least supportive of law enforcement cast doubt on their ability and what they're doing.
My issue is they're saying a lot of stuff that they think people want to hear, but it's stuff that they don't believe themselves. Like again, Braxton Winston has to tell me out his own mouth that an officer without a gun is something that he's looking forward to if he's in a dangerous situation. He will have to tell me to my face that that's the way he wants it to go.
Yeah, and just that scenario last week we talked about where the Columbus, Ohio officer came out and the female was getting ready to stab the other female with a large knife. It wasn't a
butter knife, wasn't a Swiss Army knife. It wasn't a Dr. McStuffins knife. It was a knife.
And if that officer wasn't armed to protect that person, it's very high likely, almost guaranteed, severe injury, if not death, to that person that she was attacking. It's tragic, but if the police show up and I try to stab somebody and get shot, too freaking bad. I shouldn't have tried to stab somebody, right? So, but if you take those tools away, that's the last resort tool, but it still has to be there. And we're dealing with violent people that no other country compared to us, unless you go to northern Mexico with the cartels and stuff, the violence and available guns that any other country has. And talk about that other part we were just talking about before we went live about warning shots and shot to the leg. And
these are the same people that says they don't want us to carry weapons. They want us to de-escalate things. Are also the same people that wants warning shots. Well, aren't y'all trained to fire warning shots? Let me tell you something. Simple physics. What goes up must come down. So again, I deal in real life scenarios. I get somewhere, a guy is in the street, whatever he's going off, he has a knife. I fire a shot into the air. It comes down 2 houses over and lands in the head of a small child that's sleeping in the crib.
It happens. So every 4th of July, it's happened in
Charlotte. Do you want me responsible for that warning shot? Because this is what you want, warning shots.
Yeah. And we had an officer hit in Still Creek a few years ago with a 4th of July or New Year's celebration round and shot in the air. Those rounds, and somebody was uptown a couple years ago, got hit. Those rounds come down, right? So there's no way to control. Hopefully they land in a tree somewhere. But if we're responsible and liable for those rounds, so we fire a round in the air, there's no way in hell to know where it's going to land, especially in a metropolitan area like Charlotte. You just can't take the chance. But not that. So there's 112 reasons. I don't know any department in the United States that allow warning shots. It's just not a good idea.
This isn't the movies, people. This is real life. Bullets hurt. Guns hurt. They kill. You don't want a bunch of freaking cowboys out here just firing guns in the air. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to give them a warning. If you think cops are trigger happy now, give them the okay to fire warning shots.
Yeah.
We will run out of ammo.
Yeah. I mean, so we don't engage a threat with a firearm unless it's a great deal of chance of officer or someone else greatly bodily harm or death, right? So it didn't have to be another weapon. There was an officer a few days ago that was killed up Connecticut or somewhere up north that was stomped in the head by an unarmed person. So I was thinking, hey, this guy got overwhelmed. Apparently he was the only officer working in a small town. He got knocked down and the guy stomped him in the head until he died. So I'm like, if that officer would have shot that person for stomping in the head, I just wonder, I hope not, but in the back of his mind, when he started getting stomped in the head, should he be like, well, I can't shoot this guy because he's unarmed. And then unarmed people can still kill you. Just because, last year they say police shot 9 unarmed, I don't know if it's African-Americans or total people last year. That doesn't mean those shootings were unjustified. You could shoot an unarmed person. There's always a gun in the fight. If somebody comes and punches, and I'm about to get knocked out, or there's a gun.
We've seen it happen. Readily available to them.
Yeah, and we've seen it. They
We
they,
seen
they
it.
knock them out, knock them down, take their gun and kill the officer. Or they kill somebody else. So there's no responsibility being placed on the bad guy. They're like, well, if there's
They're
none.
being held to a higher standard than police
Yep.
officers.
It's
I get it. There are people out there. There are legit cases where the person that's no longer here that was shot and killed by police, they deserve flowers. They deserve to
mhm.
be heard. Their story deserves to be told to stop it from happening again. But some of these scumbags that are out here that are just doing the utmost, most vile, reprehensible things to people, you're putting them on a pedestal with, like, let's say a Trayvon Martin.
treat them like martyrs or
You're
heroes.
treating them like martyrs. Like, no, that's people. I can't stress enough how dangerous that is. That is dangerous when people can sit around and say, I can do whatever I want right now because police is under it. You before, how many times, Step, have you heard somebody say, man, you write whatever you want, charge whatever you want. I'll be out of jail before you do. And sometimes they are absolutely released before you can get out of the jail and start your next call.
Yep.
This is what we're dealing with.
Yep. And it used
So
to not
when
be.
you say, go ahead,
No,
Jay.
it used to not be that way. They used to beg, man, don't take me to jail, because they knew they would probably stay or have a higher bond for the crime. Now it doesn't matter if it's murder. They're like, I don't care, because they know they're going to let them out. There's takes away the deterrent of, and we don't keep bad people in jail to protect society. So that's why the crime rate's through the roof. And our mental health system is shit. How many times do we need to take somebody to Billingsley, Presbyterian, somewhere, and there's no room for them? And what
There's
do?
no bed. There's
They
no bed.
yeah. So most they make a big deal about, a lot of people that officers shoot have mental health problems. Mental health people that you can't reason with, and sometimes have superhuman strength, or dangerous. They could be dangerous, right? So if we focus a lot more on the mental health aspect of it, and don't defund the police. We need more training. We need more money for training. Talking to a guy last night, he was bringing up a good point about, hey, just think of what we spend in lawsuits when we have a bad shoot or something. Just spend that money in training, and let's invest more in the mental health system. With counselors.
No, Jay. Let's invest in Chick-fil-A
Yeah, customer
customer
service.
service.
That so it. And let me bring up that since you brought it up real quick. I know we're all over the place. My ADD kicked in, but what kind of kick in the balls is that for the officers? Customer service. I get it. This be professional, but to get to the point where we're going to refer to victims and suspects instead of a victim's a victim, right? A victim has been victimized, hurt, has loss of property, whatever, from a suspect. To refer them both as customers, put them on the same level, what does that do? I mean, you're almost like, well, the suspect and victim are equal people. They're not. They're shit turds. These assholes are shit turds that prey and bullies, and they'll kill you. You can't. Not everybody that gets locked up is a bad person. We agree with that, but there's a segment of society that prey on people, and they're shit turds. And I'm not referring to them as a fucking customer. Excuse my language, but fuck that. And just that's a kick in the balls for morale to say, oh, they're our customers. No. You want to be a bad guy? Me and my team are coming after you. You want to fight? We're coming after you. You want to pull a gun? Bad things are going to happen.
You want to hurt children. You want to
Yeah.
rape children. You want to rape women. You want to beat on your wife. You want to beat on your spouse.
That's not our
We're
customer.
not coming in like, sir, was our customer service to your liking? I know that you just raped a child and raped a woman, or shot a child and shot a woman, but we need to make sure that you're okay and that you're fully invested in the quality of service we're trying to give to you. What the fuck is that?
And
What is that?
and it's ignorance. So I'm at loss for words because I'm getting pissed off. You can tell my face isn't turning red yet. I do have a little bit of sunburn. I fell asleep again in the lawn chair at the pool for like 6 hours.
But
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
dude, you have to put on Beta Block 8000.
I need something.
Okay.
Yeah. It looked like, uh, but it's ridiculous.
It's Jay, the thing is, like, we can hoop, we can holler, we can say this, we can say that. But the thing is, when you got people with a great platform that can really move people, that can really move people,
Yeah.
saying shit like that, saying stuff like that, putting it on in ink, putting it on press
Yeah. So come
after
up,
other people.
like we come up with a solution. Be educated in what you're going to discuss. I have no business, nor would I ever talk about what a surgeon needs to do or a bomb tech, which wire he needs to cut, or because I don't know crap about it. And I know enough to know that if I don't know anything about it, I'm not going to
Ask the
pretend like I do.
expert.
Yeah, I could be like, well, I watch Hurt Locker, and in Hurt Locker, you always cut the blue wire. I don't know, but that doesn't work. That's pretend. So you can't throw out words when you're elected official or anyone with any substance. And
Like, he's smart. He's a politician. He's been in the game. What's wrong with saying, "Hey, Blue, what do you think cops should carry guns?" Hey, well, first of all, that's a question of something that I don't feel like um
um,
based on the
yeah,
context, or what are you
let me
trying to
look
say?
into it. Let me talk to
Yeah,
some
let
professionals.
me talk to let me look at some numbers. Let me look at situations. I'm not fully trained. I'm not a police officer, so I can't tell them what they can and cannot carry.
And you know, and he's not a stupid person. This is not just some thug that got elected because of the riots of 16 when he first came up. Got some publicity. He
Yeah,
went to
that's when he turned heel. That's when
he
he went heel.
Yeah, he went to Davidson College. He's educated. You listen to him speak. He's a smart guy, but it makes me wonder wisdom. How much wisdom does he have? If you're speaking on subjects you don't know anything about, uh, it doesn't matter
He's
what
a
I feel.
politician.
It doesn't
He's a
matter.
politician.
Yeah, you heard. Yeah, that's exactly right. It doesn't matter how I feel about how a surgeon should do something or a construction worker. I don't know. That's why.
Right.
That's why we put faith in those guys to know. And we talked about accountability last week, and we're held accountable.
Like like the community is putting faith in him to make sound decisions, to lead them in the right direction. When he does shit like that, that's not leading them in the right
Yeah.
direction. And I can promise you this: you won't get elected saying shit like that. So if you think you're about to get elected on an anti-police campaign,
When crime's going through the roof,
uh-uh,
and yeah, and
uh-uh.
yeah, it's kind of similar. What always pisses me off is you see it all the time. There'll be a use of force. They interview a professor, a doctorate. He's got a doctorate in criminal justice. The dude's never even been in a pencil fight. He's never even went one-on-one with a pencil fight. He has no clue about adrenaline, audio exclusion. I mean, I was talking earlier to somebody.
Fatigue.
You get into shit. You don't remember what my perception is of what it actually is might be different because you got all these different physiological effects going on, and until you experience that, until you've been in a chase or been in use of force, or you've had your gun pointed at somebody and you're
Or
seconds away
gotten
from killing,
punched in the face.
get punched in the face. Look at my finger, Belmont Allen. Look at crooked. That's as straight as it gets. That's as straight as it gets from a fist fight with some shit turd selling dope, but he got tased. But I think he got away anyway. But
Of course he got tased.
yeah,
That's all you do.
tased
But
off.
this is my thing here. Like, I think CMPD just they had posted, I think it was 7 graduates, women. Congratulations to you women, and proud of them. For you to go into this business or this profession with everything that's going on, shout out to you. And it's like, now, remember before when when class used to graduate, what were some of the things you would say? you would say, congratulations, happy for you, go get them, make the change. Now, what do we say? Good luck.
Good luck. Don't do shit. Wait till the bad guy leaves. Don't, if you see it, look the other way. That's what they're being told now. If you see it, look the other way. Uh, there's, it's, and that,
No, hold on. Time out, Jay. They're getting trained to do everything, but they're getting out here and they're talking to veterans and people that's been on the street, and they're like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
read the room, read the climate. I know you want to go out here and be Captain America and Robocop and do all this. Listen,
What they tell this place will throw you on the bus. If you can do everything right within policy and state law, and the perception of it is bad, and they'll throw you on the bus. Just they care more about how they're viewed than they do about the officers. This not all of them. Some of them are really good. I like there's a handful of them that are really good. But it's you're right to your point. You got to be either crazy, just really in the need for a job, but we're not hiring the people with the mentality that want to go out here. We're law enforcers. Bad people won't like us. Our job is to enforce the laws when they screw up. It's not our job to make hamburgers and hot dogs and sing kumbaya. So we be respectful and professional, but if you screw up, don't get pissed off because you get a ticket, right? So I mean, my son got a ticket the other day. He deserved it. I didn't get mad, right? But if you screw up, you got to be held responsible. They want us to be held responsible, but they don't want the bad guy to be held responsible. They don't want their actions to be held. Nobody's responsible but us.
absolutely right, Jay. And the thing is, and where it's like, where do you go from here as police or even as the community? Because if something's going on, how do we know the community isn't feeling like, do I even want to call police? Because they're mad at us because we're mad at them. Are they going to do a job? Are they going to do or are they going to do a good job? Are they going to be unprofessional? Or are they going to be salty? Like that can happen. The community can feel like, why am I even going to call the cops? They don't trust us. We don't trust them. So all right, let me handle it myself. And then that's where you get the problems.
Yeah.
How many times have we heard um just before all this happened, hey, I want a different cop out here. Get the supervisor out here. Now times that by 20, because we're salty. Officers are salty now. Because they're like, I don't have anybody backing me besides my paycheck and the ones that have a tremendous sense of duty. Why do I keep putting this uniform on and coming to work and helping people that hate me?
Yeah. And you have to have that calling, but very few, 10% or so, feel like there's a calling, there's a sense of I want to be like me. I want to stand up to the bully for other people that can't stand up for themselves. But police work now, like it used to be, is is done. There's no more getting it proactive. How many? We used to have an open air drug area in Belmont, Allen, Belmont, and anywhere really. A lot of places in there, multiple people hand to hand car traffic. We used to do ops and takedowns all the time. We used to get out with those people, be proactive, get guns off them, get dope. They don't do that anymore. But
No,
like,
because a person that's caught with 87 keys and 400 guns is going to be seen as a martyr now. Like, why'd you stop him? Oh, I stopped him because he had a busted tail light. Which, by the way, you can make a stop for that. Okay, but how many white people have you stopped with a busted tail light? Now it starts getting into like, well, damn, are you taking away? Listen, I just gave you your answer. He had a busted tail light. I pulled him over. Boom. Oh yeah, and by the way, I pulled over 5 white people too with a busted tail light. So if you're trying to tell me that I'm only pulling over a certain amount of people, check my stats. But see, this is the problem that we're having now. Because it's like, okay, yes, he has a busted tail light. Damn, he also has a busted headlight. His tag is hanging off crooked. There's a big hole in the window. All this stuff is totality. It's grin there, but it's like I don't really want to go there because I don't feel like getting called up to IA.
Yeah, and 1,000% more people that we deal with are being militant. They're trying to push buttons. They're trying to. I
They
know my
want to
right.
check.
I don't have to roll
They
my
want
window.
a
I don't have to
paycheck.
get out. I don't have to. Yeah, because that's their way out. They want to. They want you to do something to mess up, so they get rich, right? That's their
Or they go
lottery.
viral. Or they
Yeah,
go
and
viral.
so they're like, hey, what do I have to lose if I go to jail anyway? Let me resist and yell that I'm not resisting, and then get paid, right, or something. So, but it encourages people to uh, resist and do certain things. So, in Belmont back in the day, right? If you stop 10 cars, 10 people are going to be black. I mean, most of the time, right? So as a white officer, I just stopped 10 black people, no white people. Well, there wasn't any white. Trust me, like we talked about, if I saw a white person in Belmont, they're going to figure out a reason to stop and find out what they're doing over there. But so then it looks like I'm just targeting black people or Hispanics or whatever area I'm in.
No. Jay, stop right there. How many busts have we had where it's a predominantly black neighborhood and you see a car full of white kids from the suburbs, stop them, and guess what they're there to do?
By
Score
dope.
dope,
Mm-hmm.
score coke, score heroin, score whatever. See what I'm saying? See, it goes. This is the thing. You gotta read the room, folks. Like when you ask somebody, hey, why did you stop that car? Well, it's a predominantly black neighborhood. And 9 out of 10, the only reason why we would see white people here 3 a.m. Riding around multiple times, 3 to 4 times is to either score a prostitute or to score dope. In my training and experience.
All the time, you'd be 100% correct, and there's something in that car. But they don't want to look at that. They don't want to look at the facts, so they don't want to look at what actually happened. It's all what they
Low
want.
hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit. I don't know, Jay. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell the community. I don't know what to tell our brothers and sisters. Like, I want to tell the community, be safe, be vigilant. Please call 911. But I also understand their angst because they're like, hey, I can't trust that the police that come in here are going to be professional, are going to be acquiescent, and are going to do the right thing. And then I can't tell police to go out there and be proactive because they got families to feed, and I don't want them getting caught up because they really trying to make a difference. And at administration and is only worried about how it's going to look. Let me tell you something. Crime is an ugly motherfucker. It does not look pretty. It is not sexy. It's not in Maxim. It's not. It's not some buxom big butt woman. Crime is a buck tooth, fat, gelatinous, snotty nose, ugly ass troll. That's what crime is.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. It's
And
not.
so why target the people who take the step and the responsibility to go out here and do the right thing? Why make them the bad guys? It blows
I
my
don't
mind.
know. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, me and Jay is telling you, we've told you, there's some people that we don't want them on a call with us because we're like, hey, you aggravate people. You instigate things. We're sick of you. We've went to administration. We've talked to that person, that officer, like, hey, when you on a call with me, if you're gonna be acting like that, I'd rather do the damn call by myself. We've done that. We've reported those officers.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something. As much as we report officers, let me tell you something. Despite what you want to think, America, this is where I'm going to contradict myself. America loves that uniform. They love what it stands for. In a perfect society, in a utopian society, they love what the uniform stands for. The police officer is held to a high esteem. So they're going to still want that. All these people that's like abolish policing, defund policing, let us police ourselves, you're not going to get that. Because when when shit goes to hell, I'm even bring my firefighters and my medic brothers and sisters in it. When there's a huge fire, go ahead. No, there's no more police. There's no more fire. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
your
you're bad. Just
baby.
like, oh, the water you used wasn't distilled properly, so we're going to blame you for the. I mean, it's 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 ridiculous.
Your baby is suffering. Your baby is black and blue. I don't want to give CPR because if something goes wrong, I don't want to get sued. So let's just wait till medic gets here, who, by the way, is trying their best, but they're at a homicide. We've had a record number of homicides tonight, so medic is all tied up. They'll be here shortly. Let the baby die.
And
People, you got to be careful with what you're saying and what you're putting out there in the world.
and it doesn't affect not only arrest numbers or response time. When you put this kind of scrutiny on law enforcement, well, I might not want to get there to the bad guy leaves now because I don't want to engage a bad guy and end up in the news or end up in prison or ruin my career, get fired, right? So who's that affecting? It's not okay. Well, yeah, okay, we might not arrest a robbery suspect now because we won't get there fast enough. The people in the community are getting robbed, victimized by these people, and it's affecting them. So not only is it affecting the officer for not doing proactive work, when we don't do proactive work, it affects the community because those people are left out to prey on the frail and innocent, and if it's a B&E or larceny or robbery, they're the ones who
Let me
suffer.
ask you this, Jay. I know you're not a scientist, or I'm not asking you for a hypothesis, but is do you think it's a coincidence that crime is up as officer proactivity
No,
is down?
no, and what's historically there's a cycle of this happening, right? So if it's the crime surge of the early '90s when crack came out, or the late '70s, and the only way to fix it is to put bad guys in prison who need to be in prison. Not, I agree. Check the criminal justice system could use so. If you do check fraud, house arrest. If you do, there's everybody need to go to prison. But if you're violent, if you steal people's shit, you need to go to jail. You need to be kept away from everybody else. And criminal justice 101, I was a dumbass at majoring in criminal justice, was first thing you learned is the penalty has to be more severe than the benefit of the crime. So if the benefit of the crime, you steal $1,500, you get fined $500, you win. There's no deterrent. So these guys most of them don't care about their record. They don't care about having a criminal history. And go back to your point, I used to love, well, let me tell these officers now, if you make a traffic stop and the first thing out of their mouth, name, badge number, and I want to see your supervisor, I used to love when they do that to me. One, I'd be like, I am the supervisor. But that doesn't make it, it's not a timeout. You don't have to be like, oh shit, okay, hold on, let me call my supervisor. Look, all right, dude, you're going to do what I ask you to. If I have a lawful reason to stop you and ask for your license and registration, you're going to give that to me. It's not, I don't have to wait for 15, 20 minutes for my supervisor to get here for you to comply. You have to comply with me. He'll be en route. Give me your stuff. I'm not playing this game. And, but what do they do? You see, oh, okay. They back off. They go and sit in their car and they want to supervise. And in the meantime, the guy's crushing his dope but everybody's militant now. You stop a car. I don't know how many times I'd stop somebody, give them a warning, or be like, hey, you gotta, your cat's hanging under your car, or say, try to do something nice for them. And as soon as you stop them, they're yelling. And I'm like, hi.
I just showed you the video where the officer pulled the woman over.
Oh yeah.
And she was cussing him out, calling him a Mexican murderer, and she was like, no matter what uniform you wear, you always gonna be a Mexican murderer, and you all this stuff. She was cussing him out. She was calling him a murderer. All this stuff. I want to speak to you. Meanwhile, man, where's your license? I left it at home.
I know, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, did you sign your registration with black ink? You don't have to be black ink, but I used to love that. Oh, you start being
It's just it's like it's so beyond what people are doing now. And she was a teacher. That's right. Thank you,
oh,
McGuire third. She was a teacher, and her kid was in the car with her. If y'all need to, please Google that video.
yeah,
It was so disgusting. Oh yeah, and by the way, that officer's body cam, he had to purchase that on his own because his department they don't do body cams. But he purchased it because for that exact reason, he wanted to protect himself. So all you defund police and don't give them this, don't give them that, you still got departments out here that don't have enough money to get body cams.
yeah. And in this day and
Where's
age,
the transparency?
with this with this day and age, it's ridiculous. And to your point, a lot of places have hemmed officers up for buying their own body cam
Purchasing body cams.
because they're like,
Yes.
that's unauthorized use of equipment, and they do it for the right reasons. They're not doing it to create a collage of police chases or whatever. But I mean, but they do it to protect themselves, and they get hammered. So if
Why
you're not
not
going to,
have somebody out there that actually does that?
yeah,
That
exactly.
purchases the camera just to catch themselves doing, and they like cut it up and mash it up
Yeah,
to
that'd be
make it
cool.
look like they're more important than what they are. It's so
Exactly.
funny,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Seashaw asks, is it admissible? It depends. Because the one thing that the any lawyer in worth their salt, all they'll say is, hey, is those authorized? No.
Yeah.
Then how do we know? How do you check the security on them?
Yeah.
How do you make sure officers can edit? Blah, 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 blah. So to answer your question, no, it can be thrown out because like if CMPD was to use body cam footage, they'll be like, is this an authorized piece of equipment by CMPD? Yes. What's your tech? Like, how do you blah, 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 blah. So it's ways to get around that versus somebody buy something on their own. They go like, how do I know he didn't edit this and make it seem like she was the one being unreasonable and he was the one that was being calm. So that's why. But to make that long story short is you got departments out here that's not well funded to get body cameras with everything that's going on right now. You want transparency, then you need cameras. You need them.
Yeah.
Not for gotcha tools, but for learning tools. How many times that have you've been a sergeant, you've been a supervisor, you go through body cam footage and you're like, oh, that was unsafe. Let me call Blue in here and be like, hey, Blue, everything was good right here. I'm concerned with right here. Tell me what was your mindset when this happened here? When you approached this side, when you pulled up without your backup, what was this? That's a learning tool. That's training. That's part of training.
Yeah, and with lawsuits and liability, it surprises me that any department didn't have body cams. But
they don't have the money. It's either buy cameras or lay off officers.
Yeah,
it's like, what do you do?
Yep, and it's to the point where an officer's word used to mean something, and some officers abuse that, and it didn't. If it's not on video, it didn't happen. Right?
It didn't happen.
And the DA, especially here in Mecklenburg County, if you don't have, they could have a gun and bags of dope with their name, with their ID in the bag with the dope. I've had it happen. Oh, well, we can't prove he didn't admit that he knew the gun was stolen, or he didn't admit, he said he found it in a trash can, or he didn't admit this, or if they don't admit to it, it's dismissed, man. I mean, it's almost impossible. And I got really upset with the DA one time and hung up on her because I'm like, can we wait till the defense attorney makes that argument before we just dismiss this case?
Right. They already telling you like, yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I said it's beyond a reasonable doubt, not a shadow of a doubt. So if we have a good case, let's, the more cases we just toss because, well, they could say this or this and just hypotheticals. You could hypothetical any incident to find a loophole, but it's what's a reasonable person think in case?
But you know who gets blamed for that, Jay? We
The
do.
officers.
Like, why was that person
not making a good case
on the street? I arrested that person 9 times. And 9.
They'll say the officer didn't bring us a good enough case. Well, Well, unfortunately, everything's not on camera. You know, you don't have a confession every time. So unless they have the perfect case, they won't take it. And then you got to rob and door put the guy back out. And they know that's not going to happen. It's not because of COVID. It's not because of these other made up fairy tales and bedtime stories they're saying that crime's up. It's because bad guys aren't being put in jail and there's no accountability. The only people held accountable are the police.
People are on EM
Oh, all the time.
with
Committing crimes.
child pornography charges, murder charges.
Every day.
EM. Fucking, I just got an alert that Josh Duggars, he was granted bail, and the Homeland Security said the child pornography found on him was in the top 5 worst that they've ever seen.
And
what else do you want us to do?
And we'll have literally legitly like random murder suspects get out in a day, be on EM or robbery. I mean, robbery all the time, robbery suspect, and then continue to commit robberies and murders.
Let me tell you something. I arrested a guy on EM that jumped through the roof of a department store and B&E'd the store while on EM. While on EM.
Yeah.
We have to remind them to charge them bracelets. One of the conditions of you staying out is to keep your bracelet charged. And we have to remind you that.
And the purpose of bond is not punitive, right? So everybody has a right to the day in court, regardless of the allegation. But it's also to protect the public. So a lot of people well, they're not convicted yet, so let's let them out. Well, what kind of evidence do we have? What kind of history do we have? Some of these people need to be left in jail until their trial.
Don't you think a child pornographer needs to stay in there?
That's one of the sickest things that I can't even tolerate. I don't know how those detectives that work child because they have to look at that stuff. But
I don't know.
That's one of the and evidence shows most of the time those people don't get reformed. If you're that sick where you're
that's in them. That's who they are. It's not like you going somewhere for drug counseling.
Mm-hmm.
You're going somewhere because you like the assault and rape minors and children.
Yeah, it's sickening.
Not something you could get healed of.
No, it's not a case where the guy's 20 and the girl's 4 years. It'll be 4 years in North Carolina, so 16 or whatever. And she goes to the beach and she lies about her age and they bang it out or whatever kids call it these days. And then he gets charged with statutory rape. Where 16 is age of consent, so she would have to be 15. But so 15, and he's 4 years older, and then he gets charged. That even though he's use some common sense, but that person shouldn't be in jail for the rest of his life, depending on the circumstances. But but these are legit like kid porno assaults. 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14. I mean, it's sickening to think what's in people's mind. And it's not like, oh, I hit a website by mistake and this popped up. No, that doesn't.
No, it's always more. It's always more. That's not their first time, and it's not their last time. But oh yeah, by the way, let's let them be out and victimize more.
Mm-hmm.
It's people
give them a chance to do it. Murders, like we had a murder in Still Creek. Guy was breaking into a car in Ardsley Town. The suspect ran over him on purpose, trying to get away, or on purpose, or whatever he said. Killed the dude. Well, he gets put on EM, gets out of jail. Well, guess what? He kills somebody else. So he's out on EM for murder and gets charged with another murder. So that's the murder that didn't have to happen. But it's because it's not like they're like, well, they make their bond conditions. Well, the problem, they set the bond conditions so low. A lot of people, if I have $100,000 bond, that's usually 10% of bonds when we get you out of that. Anything over a couple $1,000s. So that's 10%. That's $10,000. Well, you can put up a car, right? Grandma has a car that's paid for. She signs over to them. A 2010 Honda is worth $10,000, right? So she signs over. He gets out of jail sometimes for a couple of years until the case goes to trial. So he's out there to recommit stuff.
It's just sad and it's pathetic, and we're going to continue to keep doing this every Wednesday to shed light on it, and just we're just going to try to do our best to make change, and we're not going to go about it like the Braxton Winstons of the world or the politicians that want to get out here. They want to lie to you. They want to get you all hopped up and revved up with non-facts, with bad advice, bad agenda, bad opinions, get in office, and then let the city burn. What me and Steph is trying to do is we're trying to make legit change, have legit conversation, and call people out on the carpet that's not doing the same, that's not using their platform to do the right thing. And we're going to continue to do that. And I like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you so much. You already know I'm at Real Prince Blue on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you have any questions or you need any clarification on anything that we talked about, please
Heads
hit us
up.
both up
Yeah.
and let us know. Jay, tell them where they can find you.
Hit me up on Facebook. I don't remember what shit is. Jonathan Stepp. Look me up on Facebook. You'll see the picture. I think I'm John Stepp on Instagram and also TOG4280 on TikTok.
About time, man. Good
Yeah,
job.
I
Good
need to write. I
job.
need to write this stuff down.
No, you need to remember it, man. It's
Yeah,
this it's who you are,
I
man. Come
know.
on. But thank you everybody for joining us. Please be safe. We will see y'all next week. Please share this video. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the show. Trust me, me and Jay, once we get our logo and everything together, we're gonna totally split behind the badge from Real Prince Blue. It'll be two separate entities, but as of right now, we're just doing it all under one umbrella, and we appreciate y'all patience. Good art and good we want to do this right. So the logo's being made, everything is being good, and we're really gonna do this, and we're gonna make sure that we do it right. So please stay with us. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Please be safe, be vigilant, and do your own research. Don't
Yeah.
believe what me and Steph say. Don't believe what anybody
Educate
says. Do
yourself.
your own research,
If you
because
got a
we can be wrong.
yeah, you're right. And if you have a question or something you want, a topic you want us to bring up, send us a message. We'll check it out, or a video to review.
Absolutely. All right, so everybody, thank you. As always, stay safe and stay real. We will see y'all next Wednesday. See ya.